Everyone knows that the equity market, particularly the US equity market and the Nasdaq 100, your mega cap technology stocks have had and continue to have a very strong bull market. Personally, I do think there's plenty of risk in those stocks, not because they're bad companies, but really due to the nature of the flows and the passive investing bubble that we live in. There's actually a bull market that I find to have a much higher probability to sustain. And that bull market is in various precious metals, particularly in gold and silver, and these can be played with ETFs as well. So let me go through a couple of things that hopefully will help you gain some perspective on this. So first of all, just to give you some perspective around the performance. If you look back at the second quarter in 2020, I have some statistics that I came up with. The precious metals miners, okay, these are mining companies. It's not the precious metal itself. We're going to talk about the precious metal itself. The miners performed 51% better than gold. Gold's already in a very nice bull market. 33% better than the Nasdaq. And also, for example, 45% better than the S&P. So that's the alpha that's generating. But let's quickly take a step back and look at gold, and then we're going to look at the miners again in a minute. So if you look at gold here in the longer term monthly chart, this is the futures chart. If you were to bring up the GLD ETF, it would look almost identical. You can see we've had a very meaningful breakout there in early 2019, I think is what it was, or middle part of 2019, and we are now slowly approaching the previous all-time highs. In fact, I think the second quarter was the second best quarter ever on a monthly closing basis. Excuse me, I think the month of June was the second best monthly close ever for the price of gold, and ever, of course, it's a big statement. But I do think this could continue, not necessarily in a straight line, but to me, this is a trend that, given the macroeconomic background, certainly the monetary policies that we have to still take into account, and fiscal policies of essentially, monetary debasing in major ways, this to me is a much higher probability a trend to continue to play that alongside through probably for years to come. But it's not just the price movement and the fact that this bull market is still kind of new. There's also a volatility component to it that I really like. So what I did here is I took gold futures, just looking back over the past few years, and I overlaid in blue the S&P 500. And you can see that there's a lot less volatility in this move in gold, in gold, which again is the candlestick line. So not only is it a newer bull market with which I think with I think a lot more legs than what we're seeing in certain equity markets, but also it comes with less volatility in the precious metal itself. Moving on, this is a chart now going into the miners. We're looking at gold mining stocks. This is a multi-year weekly chart, and as I'm recording this here today on July 2nd, the gold mining stocks, which are more volatile than gold, right? Let's be very clear, are up, I think, between 25 and 30% year to date, right? So that's a significant move. There's been volatility as well due to obviously what we've had in February, March, but they are up 25 to 30% versus the S&P, which is still lower, right? So that's important to understand, even though the Nasdaq is higher for the year. Looking at this another way, here we're looking at the global silver and metals miners. So this is a bit more diversified, a bit more focused on silver. You can see the breakout that it is having, a multi-year breakout with a bunch, sort of a double bottom. And I think these are up also 20, 25%, something like that year to date. And that's, I think, really, really important to understand. So to me, for my money, for the money that we manage, for our advisory services and the educational newsletters and trade alerts, we really are focusing a lot more from a trend following perspective on gold, gold mining stocks, silver, and even silver miners. And again, there's a lot more volatility in the mining stocks because first of all, the companies are stocks as opposed to the underlying precious metal. So just keep that in mind. Nevertheless, I think there's a lot more upside here given what's going on in the environment. I'm not saying it's going to happen in a straight line, but if you're looking for, in our opinion, a much truer bull market that has a lot more legs than something as parabolic as the Nasdaq 100, and we understand why the Nasdaq's going higher, right? We think this has a lot more sustainability. Hope it makes sense, folks. As always, let us know if you have any questions. I also want to mention the Wealth 365 online summit. Once again, this is the premier online summit with tons of speakers, and it's free, by the way. And you're going to learn a lot every single time you go there. So I would encourage you to sign up for free. The link is down below or in the email if you receive this by email. I'm speaking as well. I'll talk about an option strategy that you can use in this current market environment and any market environment to gain a much steadier stream of income and grow your account at the same time. Very conservative strategy, but I speak there. I wouldn't be speaking there if I didn't like the event. I learn something every time I go. I actually listen to a lot of the presentations as well. So I hope to see you guys there as well. Again, that's Wealth 365, and it's a free event to sign up. Look forward to seeing you guys there. Take care.